We need to come up with a dolphin-themed tiki bar name. The Miami Dolphin. Hi everyone, this is Ray, or some of you might know me as Tiki with Ray. Today I am in Gig Harbor, Washington. Gig Harbor, Washington. I'm at my friend Patrick, how do you say your last name?
Pina.
Pina.
Yeah.
Patrick Pina's house, and he has a home tiki bar that he's working on here. And would this be considered your basement, your rec room, or what was it before it became your tiki bar?
Yeah, just an unused downstairs room. It's a split level house, so
Yeah.
you kind of come in up the stairs either in the middle. I mean, you got to either go upstairs to the top floor or down here. The wife gave the okay to turn this into the bar room, which again, it wasn't quite the tiki-ish idea.
A
yet.
bar room.
It was just a bar.
And she probably just thought like, okay, a bar.
Yeah, she probably
There'll be a
pictured-
couple bottles of liquor over there.
Yeah, a counter, basically a countertop here, and that of course didn't happen.
So how long have you been into tiki then?
I'd say maybe a year tops.
Like a year tops.
Yeah.
So your observations going into all this. You said that you kind of got into tiki almost via the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville thing.
Oddly enough, yes.
So can you want to talk about that?
Sure. So yeah, it started off, liking Margaritaville.
Yeah.
Certain other songs kind of catchy. We always liked the nautical, tropical idea. Never really geared it toward a bar. Certainly not toward tiki. Just it started off as it's just common interests. We like nautical stuff. We love the beach. So a lot of the stuff upstairs is kind of beach geared. Beach.
Yeah, and your wife has a love affair with dolphins.
Oddly enough, she does. Yeah.
Which is definitely nautical-ish water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Water,
Yeah. I started looking into more traditional tiki stuff. I started researching Don Beach, who I learned from the Smuggler's Cove book, which is probably the biggest stepping stone into where this is kind of going. Looking at the more older end of it, I've always been into old historic stuff, history. A lot of things that are tangible. In fact, Manchester's got a really cool. The Manchester State Park has a lot of really cool old history that's you can touch it and feel it and get up close with it. And I've always kind of been into that stuff, and so I just slowly started leaning toward the older style tiki stuff and getting away from those 5 o'clock somewhere signs and the neon signs. And going more like the glass buoy route, and so it eventually turned into you can't tell now with the lights on, but usually it's really dark in here, and that's kind of the feel that I liked. I like the escape from out there and to come in here and have it be
we live in the
separate.
Pacific Northwest, and we don't get much sunlight to begin with.
Oh, we don't.
And then once it starts raining, which is now, this is kind of our reality until like April.
Yeah.
And day after day of gray and rainy skies, you're like, you definitely need to get away from it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the thing that I really like about home tiki bars is that it's like you are literally creating your own environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every home tiki bar it's a reflection on the people's interests and stuff like that. The thing I've noticed, like you were talking about, like with the Margaritaville Jimmy Buffett thing, it's like, well, he's a musician.
Sure.
He's a musician. And he wrote songs, and I think he's based out of Florida, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to him, it's more beach lifestyle.
Correct.
There's a difference between it's like a beach bar and a tiki bar, and it's like light and dark.
Yeah.
A tiki bar is dark and mysterious.
Yeah.
And a beach bar is like well lit up and bright. I mean, if you've been to like Florida, if you've been to Hawaii or any tropical place, there'll be these bars like with the thatch and stuff like that, and they'll literally be like on the beach.
More like a thatch umbrella with a bar under it. Yeah.
And it's like that's the idea.
Correct.
But I mean, how I got into tiki is through a tiki bar.
Sure.
It was dark. It was mysterious. It had no windows.
Nice.
And I remember like drinking those drinks and being like, wow, these are strong. Speaking of drinks, we have some good friends, Mark and Debby.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mark can make a mean zombie.
Oh, yes.
So how did you meet Mark and Debbie, and can you talk about their influence on you and your tiki bar and your tiki journey.
Tiki journey. Huge influence, actually. I met him on Facebook through just finding different tiki groups. And found out, obviously, they lived in Owalla, and they're very, very nice. I love Mark and Debby. They're great people.
Yeah, they live like, what, 20 minutes away?
Yeah, they're super close, and right away, we started talking and hit it off the bat, and they invited me over, and I went and checked out their bar, the Fuzzy Smudge, and it was just mind-blowing, and it really kind of gave me more of a sense of the direction.
Yep.
They're very quirky and whimsical. They have a lot of fun. They don't follow rules. It's their bars. Your bar's your bar mentality.
Yep.
And that was a real big appeal right out of the gate. Aside from the fact that they're incredibly hospitable and very very nice, salt of the earth people. I mean, I can't say enough good things about them.
You're not gonna leave their place hungry.
No. Very fun, and and it was just a real joy to meet him and then right out of the gate. I mean, within minutes, it was it felt like it was somebody I'd known a while. I mean, we were just talking heart to heart, really nice, having a blast, And Mark makes some mean drinks, and just the decor and the ideas, and Debbie's a very hands-on, if you don't want to buy it, make it type of an attitude, and that blew my mind. I mean, I was just like, what do you mean? I don't have to spend loads of money on tiki stuff, And so it was really great getting to talk to her about that, and I've actually been over there a few times now, but it's just one of those things where it kind of guided me a little more toward the more traditional way of doing it, and not going toward the yacht club stuff, and I wanted to get it more. Still have fun with it. Like I mentioned, I was going to have the pirate mast over there with the vines that you walk down and you come through, kind of like you come out of a shipwreck onto a beach with a bar, and kind of make it a little funner and quirky like that, but at the same time still have some of the actual elements of the older mugs and not too much bright light, bright color. I like the dark lit stuff, and the big fish tank I already had, and so that kind of added the ambience of water, and it's just like a lot of it kind of came together. The whole coming down the stairs and walking into the bar versus just opening the door and seeing it, it just seemed to kind of fall in place. And so like I said, it's really kind of just taking a shape of its own, and really ideas come to me, and if I get too stuck on something, I bounce them off people, and Mark and Debby have been basically like tiki gurus, if you will, and in fact, that's talking with them. I met Jason Craig, and then who I actually still have yet to meet in person, but on Facebook.
Oh, you'll meet him.
And and then he kind of guided me toward you, and I learned a lot through your shows, which is why it's really cool to actually be on here. But it's awesome, and the whole thing of Debbie wants to make this house one of the stops on the Tiki Bus tour next year, and we missed it last year because our work schedules were just crazy, and so it's really just getting to see the different layers of things come together and different ideas, and there's really no right or wrong. It's kind of what you want it to be, and that was really the appeal. And the tiki community is hands down is phenomenal. I mean, everybody's very, very friendly and very welcoming, and there's not really too much judging or too many. There's a couple in every group, but I mean, for the most part, everybody's really welcoming, and it just comes together. And who doesn't like good rum drinks? So I mean, it kind of all falls in place, Well,
let's talk about the drinks. Obviously, what are your thoughts on these rum-based libations?
I absolutely love them. The painkiller with this one here is a little more on the sugary side than I usually like, but I'm again very, very new to it, so I usually am learning more than I'm trying to explain the stuff I like. Pretty much anything with rum and some good juices is always good.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to it than that. I mean,
and there's the mugs. I mean,
the mugs.
I mean, obviously this is a clear glass mug.
Yeah.
But what I really like about tiki is that the fact that it isn't just like one thing.
Right.
There's different elements that you can get into.
Definitely.
Like there's people I know that they're all about the cocktails.
Sure, yeah.
They're all about the drinks. There's some people that are like, we're building a home tiki bar and it's going to be off the hook. Mm-hmm. They got some people that are into the artwork.
Yes.
It's the shirts. I have friends that are into the tiki mugs themselves.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And there's a lot of different avenues that you can go down into. But I agree with you. I think one of the most things that I find awesome about it is the community.
Yeah, hands down. Yeah.
When you first got, so you've been into it a year. From where you first started to now, what are you thinking? I mean, like, is Tiki kind of like what you thought it was, or what was it that you didn't think it was, or is it pretty much what you thought it was?
Oddly enough, a little of all of that. I mean, I can't say I knew what to expect because again, it's so many different ideas of what people like, and they overlap, and there's layers to it and different things. And for me, I mean, I never have been to Disneyland. You know, looking into Tiki mugs, it didn't take me long to find Trader Sam's mugs in the page on that.
Yeah.
Looking into that kind of led me more to the Enchanted Tiki Room idea of making this more of a jungle theme, and eventually, you know, the walls will be either matted or painted. I got a bunch of vines to hang for where the pirate ship's going to go, the pirate mast is going to go. It's going to be a ton of greenery in here, and I really kind of like the jungle vibe. And I don't remember the name of the restaurant that we went to years ago.
Oh, Rainforest Cafe.
Yes, Rainforest Cafe. And as soon as I went in there, I just thought, how cool would it be to have at least one room in the house look like that, you know?
I think your dogs want to be on the show.
And I thought, you know, how fun would that be to have a jungle room, you know? And with the fish tank, it's like there's ways to make it fit into day to day, even if it wasn't totally tiki geared, you know? And now it just fits with the bar, the decor, the lighting. Like I said, it's mostly dimly lit. And it's just it's a way to get away from outside, you know, work scheduling, poor weather like we talked about. You know, it's just nice to have something to get away from. And why not make it fun too, you know? And I think that's part of the thing that's so appealing is, you know, talking with the right people, you realize that it's not so strict and straightforward as, you know, as I thought when I first got into it, to get kind of back to your question there.
Yeah.
Is it felt more like there was rules to it, and, you know, well, if this bar isn't Whitco and your mugs aren't, you know, 50, 60-year-old mugs, then you're really not into Tina. And there's a lot of people that, you know, kind of think that way, and that's fine. You know, I'm not to teach their own, but the idea of having it be kind of what you want it to be and to have fun with it. It's your bar, and that's kind of what makes all the home bars different. You know, I've been on Tiki home bar pages on Facebook, Tiki for Everyone with Mark and Debby are admins on. That was kind of the first one I started on, and it really kind of opened your eyes to a lot of it. So, I mean, it is a little of both. It's, you know, there are certain guidelines to what you want, but ultimately it boils down to what you want to make it.
Yeah.
I think a tiki bar should have tikis. I think that's important.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Not just for the simple fact of that's the name of it, but I think that's important. You know, mugs can be whatever. I know there's some people that are into Star Wars mugs, and I've seen some pretty cool Star Wars mugs, you know. And
I have all of them.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan. What can I say?
And I mean, some of my mugs are generic and funky, and obviously I'm very new, so I don't have very many mugs at all. I really like the Trader Sam's mugs. There's a lot of those that I want to get that will happen over time. But ultimately, it's just kind of, you know, the mug doesn't have to have the name Trader Sam. I just like certain style mugs.
Yeah.
I really like pirate stuff. Nautical, anything like that. So I mean, if I see a generic mug that looks cool, has good glazing, and I like it, you know, I'll get it and put it on the same shelf with the expensive, you know, more expensive mugs, and just kind of making it my own and is fun, you know. And the wife gave me permission to basically have the room to do whatever, and so I think again she kind of pictured more of like just a bar in the corner.
Yeah, well, I think this is a little bit more cooler.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
But but the cool thing is that you're in a position where you're building your own place.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people just can't do it.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
you know, it's all about they're going to like the tiki bars that they can go to.
Which I haven't been to none yet.
Yeah, well, we got to change that.
Yes, we will.
But I'm going to take us out with as we're talking, it made me think about like how you design your tiki bar. Mm-hmm. And I think ultimately what's going to happen is there's going to subconsciously there's going to be a picture in your mind of what you're seeing.
Sure.
And you might not be able to like say it or look, you know, but just in there. Mm-hmm. And I lived in New York City in like the late 90s going into the early 2000s. And I moved there from Pennsylvania, like the small town PA.
Yeah.
So I dressed like someone that would live in a small town in Pennsylvania, you know. Mm-hmm. Not very stylish. And then I moved to New York. And in New York, you know, you are walking everywhere. And you just see tons of people on a day-to-day basis, just going from your work to home to your work to like the bar, wherever you're gonna go.
Sure, yeah.
And then I remember when I started to buy clothing. It was time to buy a new pair of shoes. Mm-hmm. Subconsciously, my taste changed.
Sure, yeah.
So now all of a sudden I know, like in New York, it's like a lot of blacks. A lot of like I completely dress differently.
Sure.
Than I did when I lived in Pennsylvania. Now I wasn't even making a conscious decision. It wasn't even like, oh, I want to fit in with the New Yorkers. It was,
right.
It was just more like, oh, well, that looks right. Those shoes look right.
Sure.
To me. And I think how it comes to like with tiki bars is the more you see, the more tiki bars you go to, just subconsciously you start, in your mind, you start picturing. So if, say, you see a random item.
Yeah.
Or like you're at a Value Village or a Goodwill and you're like, that could work.
Yeah.
That long ass piece of rope.
Yeah.
I could see where I can put that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens.
Certainly, yeah.
So we'll check back in with you in another year.
Sounds fantastic, yeah.
Hopefully the bar will be here.
Yes, it will.
It'll probably be dolphin themed. We gotta come. I'm trying to appease your wife. Your wife has me inspired. I'm going to start a new show. It's going to be called Dolphins with Ray. Mm-hmm. You hear that, Wendy?
What?
I'm starting a new show called Dolphins with Ray.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be a show where I swim with dolphins. What do you think of that? You're like, you better not fart. Hey gang, this is Tiki with Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more episodes, click on the subscribe button. And if you liked the video, give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below.